Hello, everyone. It's Leo. The theme of today's talk is favorite PreCure designs. And for that, I invited someone very special. She is someone I admire a lot and who's a superb artist. Welcome, Agnia.
Hello, my name is Agnia. I'm also known as tomatomagica on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. Um, I got into Precure in, I think, 2016. It was around the time I watched all of the Ojamaja Doremi. Yeah, I watched 4 seasons, the OVA, the everything there was to watch, and I was really thirsty for some more Umakoshi art. So I looked up what else he worked as a character designer in, and that led me to Heartcatch Precure. I think that's a really common path of people becoming Precure fans
Yeah.
because Heartcatch was the season that started the Precure fandom in the West as we know it right now, because before there, as far as I know, there weren't even fan translations of the earlier seasons. So that's how I got into Precure.
Yeah, like Hardcatch is really like the gate for most fans here in the West. Like I remember when Hardcatch was airing, the boom it was like here, and we had fan subs working on it like in a weekly basis, something we didn't have before. I remember we had a fan sub called Arianai that did like Futariwa and Splash Star, and they started working on Yes, but it was never really a weekly thing. And after Hardcatch, you know, I think since then we always had a fan sub or a person working on fan subbing Precure. And it's interesting that you mentioned that like the thing that made you start watching Precure is the design, which is the theme we're talking today.
Exactly.
And I find it very interesting that we chose this theme because you're an artist. So like you work a lot with designs and the way characters are presented. And so like this is something you probably know how to talk about, right?
Well, I don't have a professional education in character design specifically. I'm a graphic designer. But as an artist, yes, I do work mainly with the character like pinups, and that's a fancy word of saying I don't draw backgrounds.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yes, I did. I did draw a lot of Precure characters, so there are a lot of things I notice when I'm drawing them myself. When I look up for the references, when I look up other people's fan art, so I think there's a lot of things to discuss in this theme.
Right.
So thank you for inviting me. This is a really close one for me.
Oh, that's nice. I'm very thankful that you accepted too, because I'm a fan of your work, and I just love your art. Your art is so amazing, and so it's so full of life. I just love how you draw things, and it's really incredible. So I thought, okay, I need to do this. I need to call her, so we need to talk about something together. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So today we decided to talk about Precure Designs, as we've already said, and we each chose five of our fave designs, like our five individual Precure designs that are our faves, and also our favorite seasons in terms of designs as well. So that's what we're going to talk about today here. Okay, so I'm starting, and for my number five, I think this might be a controversial pick. I don't know, but I went with Cure March. Cure March is one of my fave cures, and I'm a big fan of green cures. And I think Cure March has the best tone of green that was ever used on Precure. And I remember when I saw the leaked designs for Smile for the first time. And I remember the talk in the fandom at the time saying, like, this is not the real thing because those hairs, they're way too out there. They can't be real. And, what the first thing that really captured me about Smile is the hair because, they're so crazy. Like, I have no idea what they were thinking when they were creating those hairs, but I absolutely love them. And obviously, March's hair is my fave. I don't know what's going on with her hair, honestly, but I just love it. That this ponytail and those chunks of hair on the side, it just creates such a nice feeling. And her being like a wind based character, and the way her hair flows, I just love it. It's just incredible. And I really like the uniform as well. Her boots are so beautiful. That green overlay it has on the top of them, on the top of her boots, it's awesome. I don't know, I just love her design so much. And like, if I were to say, like, she is not higher here because of the tiara. The tiara is the only thing that doesn't really add anything. And when you look at promo images and such, it's fine. But on the actual series, like, if you see like screenshots of her on the series itself, the tiara looks so big in her hair, in her head. And it just doesn't look that good. I don't know. It just doesn't look that good in the series itself. But I just love it. I just find it incredible.
Yes, Smile was actually the second season I watched after the Heartcatch, so it also imprinted on me a lot. And now that I see in yes, PreCure 5 Go Go, and the first one, of course, yes, I noticed that since the designer is the same, you can really see how Smile is very reminiscent of the of Yes 5. They both have their crazy hair, but personally, I think that Smile has much better color choices. As you said, she has a really, really nice shade of green. If you compare her to Cure Mint, I mean, I guess it makes sense that Cure Mint has a cooler shade of green.
Yeah.
But if we isolate that, the themes, I think Cure March's shade of green is, yeah, it is the best. It's very leafy. It's very like grass green, and I really like her silhouette. Smile has really nice silhouettes. Despite having those crazy hair, they don't break the shapes. They're very clear, very concise, and I love them.
Yeah, Smile's awesome. Like, I like the Smile designs overall. I think they're bold in a way. Like Sunny's hair as well. And like, it's all so crazy, and it really captures my heart. And like, March is the epitome of the designs in Smile for me.
My number five is actually from the season I haven't seen yet. It's Shiny Luminous. I know she's not technically a cure, but come on, how can I ignore Shiny Luminous? Um, she has a really good number of colors in her design. There's three main colors: white, light pink, and dark pink, and two accent colors, which is red and golden. I don't like overly complicated designs. I want the designs to be straight to the point. It is the reason I'm not a big fan of suit precure, because they have those endless amount of frills. Yes, on Shiny Luminous you can notice her huge majestic twin tails that create the wavy shape. I think if I were to change something at all in her design, it would be the stray hairs coming out of her twin tails. I prefer a more clean shape. Yes, you can find repeating hearts, bows, and frills in her design, which is also a really nice detail about it. Um, There's, of course, iconic Futariba Precure leg warmers and big shoes. I'm a big fan of big shoes specifically, like you can see in Dormy, like you can see in Splatoon. They're just such a cute detail. She has a longer dress compared to Cure White and Black. It really sets her apart from the two. And overall, it's not too simplistic, but also not too overly detailed. I like Futariwa designs in general. I know there's not much that separates, yeah, as I said, luminous from black and white. And I think Pure Black is absolutely iconic in terms of design, and I would love to see more darker color schemes in Precure. And I'm favoring Shiny Luminous for a very simple reason of I love pink and twin tails.
Like, this is a very magical girl thing, right? And I love Lumina's design as well. I think she's also my fave from the Futariwa team. And I find it very interesting that she's categorized as a yellow cure. And I do understand the need to not categorize her as pink, because pink cures are just for the main ones. And I just find her very adorable as well. I love big hair, so this is like a big win for me. And like, even though, like, yeah, she has a lot of pink in her costume, but there's so much yellow because of her hair. Like, there's so much gold
Mm-hmm.
that I think it really enlightens her. And she looks very, very cute, adorable, adorable. I love it. And I just love the fact that you mentioned big shoes. I find that absolutely adorable as well. I like I still remember, like, when I was a child and I watched Digimon, and Digimon, like, they have those enormous shoes that don't match, like, their size at all. And when I was a kid, I found that amusing. That was really something that really called my attention. So yeah, I really like Shiny Lumina's design as well. There was a time when I starting in Precure, she was my fave Precure for a while. I really like her, and I think that her design matches her, like, very, very nicely. And I love when she uses her powers and her hair just flows back. It's just incredible. So yeah, good choice for number 5. That's an amazing design.
Okay, let's move to your number four.
Yes, my number 4 is no secret, I think, because she's my favorite cure. But I just couldn't leave her out of this. It's Cure Soleil, our girl Elena from Star Twinkle Precure. And it's also no secret that I love Star Twinkle in terms of designs. And I think Soleil is the best one in terms of designs in Star Twinkle. I think that the first thing is that she's very orange looking. And I love orange. And, like, I do understand that they categorize most cures as yellow, but it's nice that they can use orange to accentuate the designs like that. So she has a lot of orange in her costume. She has a lot of yellow, obviously, in her costume, but there's also, like, tones of purple in the mix that throws off the balance a little bit. And I like that. It just gives her, I don't know, kind of a mature vibe. And the way her dress flows, it kind of reminds me of, like, a flamenco or a tango dancer, and, like, when she spins around, when she's transforming, it really calls me back to those dances. And kind of, like, tied to her culture, tied to her background. I like that a lot. And I think that one other thing that really calls my attention when it comes to her is that she has fire powers. And fire powers, they usually mean, like, fiery personalities and people full of attitude, but it's not really like that with Elena. Elena is a very kind person. Even though she's very intense, she's very kind and calm in most times. And I feel like her design kind of gives that vibe, it gives that kind vibe. Like, using fire to make you kind is not easy. And I don't even know if I'm making myself clear here, but I just love how her design is not like, I am super strong, I'm so here, I am, like, my personality is so intense. It's not like that. They're able to use it in a way to showcase that, like, she is an intense but kind person. And that ties to her, who she is, who Cure Soleil is, and I love that.
Yes, Elena is indeed a very important cure because she's the first dark skin cure, a first cure of color. I was very, very happy when I first saw the leak. I was so happy. It was hard to believe it's real. For about few weeks, I thought it was fake because it was too good to be true.
I felt the same thing.
Yes, as you said, the purple accents throw the balance off a bit. I think it's not a bad color combination, but personally, I look at her earrings and the tiara and the headband, her choker, and all I see is grapes for some reason because you remember in her transformation
Yeah, yeah,
there are those very purple orbs and I see them and I think, grapes.
yes.
Not really. It's just a nitpick. I think if it were red, I'd like it more. So it would be a really nice gradation of yellow, orange, red.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. But personally, I like it this way because I red isn't really my color. So I'm
Hmm.
glad that she doesn't have it. But yeah, I do understand what you mean. Like, I like this combination of purple and yellow. It's used in Cure Twinkle as well, and I find it I find this combination very interesting, and I like it. I think it matches in a way. It creates a harmonious combination of colors.
Yes, and of course, I'm always happy to see figures in longer dresses that are long enough that you don't even see the shorts that figures wear. It's always nice to see uh, a nice long, really flowy dress that you can still fight in. It's an
Yeah.
interesting take on design for a figure.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, like big dresses are nice.
And as you said, her having fire powers is not entirely tied to her personality, but I think what it represents is her immense wish to
Hmm.
protect her family and friends. That's her real that's what
That's her
makes her
motivation.
so powerful.
Yeah.
So that's Kira Soleil. Now for my number 4. It is Cure Peach. Cure Peach isn't like Shiny Luminous. I'm not very familiar with her. I just started the season, but I fell instantly in love with her design when I first saw it. Oh, not when I first saw it, but when I first started to really looking at it. I like this design for similar reasons I like Shiny Luminous, which is a limited color palette, pink hues and hearts. It looks like a version of Cure Luminous that's a little older, mostly due to the proportions of the body and face and how they relate to each other. Shiny Luminous had open forehead and her eyes were set pretty low in the face, whereas Cure Peach has big centered eyes and bangs above, making her look a little older. I'm a huge fan of her twin tails. They have a very fun, clean shape. Especially, I love that it looks like hearts from above. The outfit itself is a tiny bit, well, not boring, but not super original or memorable. So I understand why the season is often forgotten or overlooked. You look at Cure Peach and think, wow, this sure is a magical girl. I don't think it's a bad thing though. You can't really go wrong with perfection.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Well, you know, like seeing Shiny Luminous and then Cure Peach on your pics is it's really like it really shows what you like because like their designs are very similar as you said, like both big twin tails, both blonde and with pink costumes. And I like the designs from Fresh. As you said, they're simple, they're simple costumes, but I think they work very well. They kind of have like this 90s feel, like especially to a Brazilian person like me, it really feels like something um a person on TV would wear in the 90s, especially those TV hosts that hosted shows for children, like Xuxa, for example. That was a big children's host here in Brazil. And I would totally see her wearing something like that, especially the boots. And I love the boots. And unfortunately, I think that the biggest lowdown of Fresh's design is the fact that the season itself is drawn so poorly that those beautiful designs, they end up kind of being like eclipsed by the bad drawings in the show, because like you can't really enjoy the designs that much while watching Fresh. And Fresh is such a great season. I always say Fresh is very, very underrated. It really deserved more love because I feel like it's an incredible Precure season, and like with great story, great characters, and lots of twists, lots of things happening. And the designs are golden. I just love it. They're simple, they're effective, they're clean. And obviously, this combination of pink and yellow, as in pure peach, it never goes wrong.
Yes, exactly. And as you said, for the season being poorly drawn, this is not entirely connected to the design of the characters, but the thing I really, really noticed a lot while watching this season and Yes 5 is actually the quality of the backgrounds. In Futariwa, you can see that the backgrounds are they're either traditionally drawn or mostly traditional drawn and then touched on the computer. And in these two seasons, in Yes 5 and Sweet, you can clearly see that it was a period where artists were transitioning from the traditional animation to the computer animation, and the backgrounds are all drawn digitally. And I think at that time it wasn't, yeah, since they were transitioning, it wasn't as widely used. So the backgrounds are really sketchy. Their color choices can be a little bleak. Yeah, that's what I noticed a lot.
Yeah, that's a nice observation about like overall designs of a season. A very interesting take for sure. Okay, now going to my number three. I don't know if this is an odd choice because honestly, I thought everyone loved this design, but I was seeing some people talking about it lately and they said, "Oh my god, she's my least favorite design ever." And I was like, "What?" But yeah, my number 3 is Cure Unjay. And if you follow my channel, if you watch my videos, I say lots of bad things about Cure Unjay and Saya as a character. I feel like she's really underused in Hugto, but I always say how much I absolutely love her design. I remember the first time we saw the silhouettes for the Hugto cures, like we couldn't see them, like there were just silhouettes, and I instantly got drawn to Unjay, obviously because of the hair. And I still think like out of all the cures, she has the prettiest hair because it's so big, it's so out of this world. Like I don't know, and the colors, like I love the color choice they used with Anjay. And I feel like the this light tone of blue, it works very well. And it's interesting that they chose to use this color as it's underneath like the white part of her costume that is like on the top, and her light blue color, which is her theme color, is underneath it. You can see the details, you can see the like in the middle, and you can see like the inside her skirt. But the color that is up front is white, and her details and her accessories are mostly white as well. And I like the idea of the accents and accessories that she uses, because they create this costume that kind of looks like a priest that you would see in an RPG setting, or a paladin that you would see in an RPG setting, because she has this supposed role of being a protector, of being a healer. And she doesn't really use that in the season, but uh I like I can see what they were going for, and I absolutely love it. It's an incredible design to me. And uh when she transformed, the poses she makes, it's so different. And I love how everything flows and like she's pointing to one side and the costume is flowing to the other. I I don't know. I just love Cure Anje. I incredible design to me.
To me, Hakuto was a very luxury in design because I really like uniforms. I really like when team looks like a team. Uh, I will get to it later when we discuss the seasons and my other favorite cures. But I think when you isolate the designs, when you isolate uh, the three cures in Hagato, they really do work. They may not look very unified, but as isolated cures, they do look absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
I really love her the wings on her shoulders. They look very similar to the shoulder pads in Smile, but so much bigger. They
Yeah.
look wonderful. She has, I think, three sets of wings on her head, on her shoulders, and on her boots. The angel theme really comes through. I really love her boots having these. They also look kind of like wings from the front. From the side, they look like hearts. It's a very nice touch. She has pretty big platforms on her shoes. I can say I'm a big fan of that because it's pretty uncomfortable in combat. I really like the longer part of her skirt being so flowy. I like the accessory on her waist looking like yellowish feathers. I think it's a really solid design. Both themes come through, and as you mentioned, her hair is so big. It's like a sky blue aura around her, like a heavenly aura around her.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I agree with what you said about like teams not really looking in unison. And Hukto really doesn't care about that at all. Like they look completely different from each other. There is it doesn't seem like there's something that unifies them. Obviously, Mura and Mashiri, they do look similar because they're a duo, but the other three they look
Mhm.
completely different from each other. And as you said, I find the designs of Hukto beautiful, especially Anje and Etoile. I find Etoile very incredible and different. She doesn't look like a magical girl at all if you think about it. But yeah, Unjay is my number one pick. I'm really sad with what they made her in Hookto, but I just love the design so much.
And moving on to my number three, it is Pure Sunshine from Heartcatch Precure. At this point, I think you got that I really love Twin Tails.
Right?
Her Heartcatch is without a doubt the most widely known season, as we said. If I'm not mistaken, uh, anyone who's been following me for some time knows that I'm an avid fan of Automata Doremi, and one of its most prominent artists, the character designer and animation director Yoshihiko Omakoshi. So far, I've seen about 4 series where he had unmistakable influence on the designs, and in different points of time, as any other artist, he had different art style quirks. I think Ojamajo Doremi OVA, Heartcatch Precure, and Saint Seiya were precisely when his style became so defined and recognizable as we know right now. Okay, back to Cure Sunshine. She's not that much different from Cure Marine and Cure Blossom, and the biggest difference being her bare stomach. I'm usually not a fan of showing an unnecessary amount of skin, but I think it somehow works with her personality. She really looks like she can kick ass. I really like the bows and flowers on her twin tails, as well as the triangle shape of her hair. Bold geometric shapes are always a yes from me. That's why I really like this character designer. Yellow cures, if you notice, they often have that very cold yellow color. Take cure lemonade or cure peach, not peach, cure peas, or cure rosetta. I love both of them, but I think they look so much better. They would look so much better if they had this warmer, almost orange hue of yellow instead. Similarly to Cure Soleil. Cure Sunshine has the best color scheme out of yellow cures, in my opinion. Mm, I don't have much else to say about the design, as it's very similar to her teammates. As I said earlier, what really made this season was the character designer having the best artistic sense ever. I've seen some people don't like how sharp Heartcatch looks, but to me it looks amazing. And it definitely influenced my own art as well. So it's a season that really imprinted of me in terms of design.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love the pointy and sharp ways that he uses in his characters. And, Sunshine is a very interesting case because like when she transforms into Cure Sunshine herself, like there's a big change in it, not in her face, but in her attitude, and she becomes like really badass. And I also think that the design overall is able to show that, like as you said, her stomach is bare, and it kind of gives her this more athletic and more uh, sporty vibe, and it gives her this edge that is necessary to change from Itsuki to Cure Sunshine and become like a different entity, because that's how I feel. She transforms, she becomes like completely like she really embodies Cure Sunshine. And I really like it. Her dress is very nice, the petals coming out as in this yellowish orange-ish tone, and the bows with the flowers in her head as well, very very nice. And it's not really part of her design, but I must say it, I love her tambourine. I love her tambourine. It looks awesome.
I think the tambourine theme, the music theme, is my favorite of this whole season. It's so upbeat. It's so great. And yeah, I think the hair is the biggest change in her transformation, and the animation during the hair sequence is it's so amazing. It's the best part for me personally.
Yeah, and I think that like there is this glowy thing about her design. It's just not a simple yellow, as you said. It really glows and makes her look like golden, and this really makes her feel special in a way. So, like, yeah, I love this. Okay, going to my number two. I really don't know if this is like an odd choice, but also another design I absolutely love, which is Cure Parfait. Cure Parfait is very colorful, and I love colorful stuff. I love stuff that feels weird and great at the same time. And like, how do you create a design that resembles a parfait? So like, I think that they went to the best route possible in this case. And there are obvious things like her tiara with a parfait in it. Like, this is really obvious. But the rest of her costume is really incredible. Like, the other routes they went to create a parfait illusion in a costume is awesome. And like, she has a layered dress with lots of different colors coming out. And the fruit slices, I absolutely love the fruit slices that come out in like the top part of her dress. And like in Kitakita's case, we're talking about a season that they had to join two things together that usually don't go very well, which is animals and sweets. It's basically a theme that doesn't really connect, I think. But in this case, like, they in Parfit's case, I think it was a little easier because we're not talking about an actual animal. We're talking about a more of a legendary figure, which is a Pegasus. And so like they got two of those things together, Parfit and Pegasus all in one, and her boots, we can't talk about Cure Parfit without talking about her boots, which is like my favorite, absolute fave boots in Precure history, because it's like they look like horse paws. How cool is that? And like
I know.
they're white and the platform is pink. Like if the horse paw, like if they painted the horse paw in pink, like this is so incredible to me, and it looks like she's ready to go to a disco party. I love her.
I really agree with everything you said. I also really, really love her shoes and the fruit slices, the layered dress. I think there is a certain connection between a parfait and the Pegasus. Pegasus it flies, and the parfait has whipped cream that makes it really like light and flowy. That's the association I get.
Mm.
I absolutely love her wings and tail. I think the ponytail could be a little bit smaller so you could see the head and the ears more clearly. That's the only nitpick I have. I've seen a lot of people not being fans of rainbow cures as a thing because of so many colors being matched together, but I think Parfait's colors work wonderfully together. It looks her design looks mostly pastel if you look at it. The only bright colors being the frills on her dress, and it's a really powerful design. There's a lot going on, but it works so well together.
Yeah.
I really love when cures have pink hair despite not being pink cures.
Yeah, I
That's
like
a
it too.
really nice
Yeah, I like it
touch.
too. And yeah, it's interesting you mentioned like she's very pastel, and like there are some little accents that make it more lively, and it just works so well to me. It just looks incredible, and uh I like when we have very colorful and full designs, designs with lots of things in it. But sometimes they don't look good. They look they look like messy, and some things might fall out of place. But in her case, it just works perfectly.
I think the thing with overly detailed designs is a lot of time people who design them, they don't really think through for the reasons the details are there. They just add clutter for no reason whatsoever, like extra frills, extra sparkles, extra flowers, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And with the Cure Parfait, everything, every single detail is in place and for a reason.
Yes.
There's nothing really in it I would take out or add. It's perfect. Moving to my number four, it is Cure Cosmo.
Yeah, rainbows.
I might get a lot of mad people in the comments for this choice, but I actually love all the bright colors coming together in Cure Cosmo's design. These aren't colors you see often in Precure. It's a really cool thing that we're talking about Cosma right after Parfait because they're both rainbow cures, but the takes on their designs are completely different. Cure Cosma is very bright. She has a lot of fun colors. At first, you might think, no, it's too many colors. Why are they so bright? They have random placings and don't communicate well. But if you turn the perceptual hue to black and white, you'll actually see that there's a very clear balance of dark, light, and mid-tone. It's really important things in character design and in drawing in general. It helps you to see different layers of design. I adore the triangles being her signature shape. I don't think we had another cure with that thematic shape. It's usually hearts and flowers, the cute shapes. As you may have seen before, when people talk about the color spectrum, there's that diagram with the light piercing a triangular pyramid, transforming it into a rainbow. So it also really fits her theme. I really like the blue and teal colors in her design. They're so vivid, and yet they're still really pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. The contrast of blue and yellow looks very royal to me. I think your Kozma is the second cure to have braids as part of her normal cure design. The first one being Cure Felice. It's like braids are like twin tails but better. So that's why,
The
yeah.
twin tail
I love
lover.
the yeah, that's me. I love the repeating fluffy parts on her waist, top of her gloves and boots. It adds to the cat girl theme, as well as the hat that points to one of her identities as a phantom thief, or I guess a cat burglar.
Mhm.
If you look at this design, there's a lot of corresponding parts that all come in threes. For example, black color, cat ears, tail, and choker. Blue color, boots, top, and gloves. And then golden triangles on her feet, her top, and bottom of her hair.
That's very
And as I
interesting.
mentioned, the furry details on the boots, waist, and gloves. Also, yes, I'm gonna be that person and say that I love magical cat girls.
Well, your design, like, your explanation on her design is so rich. I absolutely love it. Like I never really noticed that, like everything coming in trios, or the fact that her color balance is on point. Like if you change it to black and white, like this is so nice. This is so interesting to look at. I really like Cosmo's design as well. I think it's very bold for Precure, and like this tone of blue they use for her costume is very different. I think we've never had a blue like this before in Precure. Like this is really nice, and her blue hair, like light blue hair with the pink details on it, it looks really really nice. And the
It's
cat
gorgeous.
ears, yes, the cat ears, the yellow, kind of yellow golden details, and the rainbow skirt, like everything in her design is so cool. Like I just love it. And like one thing that Star Twinkle has, and I think it's very nice, it's the bright colors. Like every single character in Star Twinkle has bright colors in their costumes. Like they don't hold back. Like, okay, let's create a pastel season, like let's take it lightly in the colors. No, in Star Twinkle, everything is very in your face. They don't really try to, balance the colors. Like it's a bah, it's very, very like bright and lively colors. And I love that. It's just incredible. Cosmo is so on point to me. I find it lovely.
Yeah, it's the colors are really like a punch in your face. Another thing, the last thing I'd like to add is the shape of her cat ears. If you watch a lot of anime, you'd notice that the cat ears usually have this very basic triangle shape, but Kirikazuma has very rounded ears. It's the ears that you could see on girls in CinnaCast Precure a la mode. It's a really nice shape. I prefer the rounded shape to the straight up triangle ears. And it's very interesting because her design is all about triangles and yet they didn't make the ears as pointy.
You're right. I never noticed that. I never noticed that. Yeah, you're right. And yeah, in anime, all we see is pointed cat ears. Even if you go like to anime conventions, you can buy those cat
Mm-hmm.
ears to put in yourself. And yeah, she has like very different. I find Cure Cosmo to be like one of the most original designs in Precure.
Mm-hmm.
It's very original. It's
Agreed.
very different. You won't find anything like her in anime. So like and talking about Cure Cosmo, it was like 16 seasons. So it's not easy to be original when you have so many seasons behind you. And they manage in Star Twinkle in general, Star Twinkle designs are very, very original. And in her case, it just looks incredible. I just love it.
Okay, just one last thing I just noticed while looking at her. there's actually a lot of subtle pink accents you can see on her inside of her ears, and then the pendant, and then the strands in her hair. But you also notice the transparent pink of her cape and the lower frills. I think
Yes.
it looks really complete. The pink on her hair doesn't look out of place, I think precisely because of these other pink placements. Yeah, it's a really solid design in my opinion.
And yeah, like interesting that you mentioned the cape because like it's reminiscent of like being a thief or like this secret hero that she kind of is in a way, and I find that very nice. And it's interesting because in the Star Twinkle movie she has lots of form changes with the pens, and all of them keep the cape, the transparent cape. It just changes the color a little bit to match the costume she's wearing, but they all keep the cape. I find that awesome.
Pure Cosmo is kind of like identity crisis precure. And this design, it really captures all of her forms. It has the her original form, of course, the cat theme. It has the hat from her Phantom Thief, and then her dress is really like an idol dress, like her Mao persona. It's
Yeah.
such a nice design. There's so much going on, but it's not cluttered.
Yeah,
It's
and
not yeah.
interesting you mentioned that because like I was glad that she got the Gemini pen. Like I'm a Gemini, so like
Mhm.
I was supposed to root for Soleil to get Gemini pen because she's my fave and everything. But it matches Cosmos so much with so many identities and so many different parts of uni, you know. So I was glad that she got the
Yeah.
Gemini pen in the movie. I was happy with that. It matches her like perfectly.
So what's your number two? Oh, number one.
Yeah, now
Yes,
it's
number
number one.
one.
Like, this is it. And honestly, when I was choosing mine, like I made a list with all my faves, and I had no idea who was going to end up in number one. And I really still don't know if I'm making the right choice, but I think I am because I just love her. It's Cure Felice. Cure Felice is kind of like polarizing green cure because she's green, but she also has like lots of different colors in her design. And for me, her design is the one that really screams fairy. She is a fairy that turned into a cure. I think that before her we had Muki Rose, and after her I think we had Parfait. So like there aren't many cures that are fairies. Maybe Cure Beat as well, if you consider her, she was Satan. But ultimately, I think that she is the one that, like, her whole design makes me really think of a fairy, you know? And she also has this secret garden vibe. Like when I look at her, it feels like she is holding a secret behind her, and like those flowers and everything, they're like in there to make that mysterious aura, and she's colorful, she's playful, but she's also mysterious and has this goddess feel to it. She really looks like a goddess. And thinking about her role in the season, how strong she is and how powerful she, like, the big power that she holds in herself, and everything about that, it matches perfectly. And it's a bold design. It also has like lots of details. Like there are lots of different flowers in her design. If you look at it, like there are flowers in her head, and then when you come to her waist, the flowers are different. And then in her shoes we have other types of flowers, and we have like a butterfly slash fairy motif as well. And so many different colors, but they all come together to create this fairy look, and I just find it incredible. I just find it incredible. And one thing I love is that rose in the middle of her costume. That it's
Yes.
blossoming. Like this is so beautiful, so beautiful.
I think when I first saw her design, you say it looks like a fairy like design. I think her design looks like the kind you would see on a queen of some faraway fairyland. You know
Yes.
the trope in
Yeah.
Precure. She really looks like a queen of a fairyland. Just put a crown on her and you have it. I
You're
really
right.
like the color choices of it. It has a more cool shade of green, but it still looks really nice. I adore her heart shaped braids. I love all the flowers on it, the rose in the middle. It is so beautiful. It's a really wholesome design. So I totally understand that you rated it the first place.
Yeah, and her skirt, which isn't really a skirt, I don't even know how to call it. It looks like cotton candy to me, So it matches her like childlike personality as well. Like talking about Hachan, it really matches her personality. And but it just gives me this goddess vibe, and very powerful and kind of elegant in a way, but not in a traditional elegant way. And it's just like I I don't know. It just really deserves to be in my number one. It's just very beautiful.
And my number one is also from Kira Kira. It is Kira Whip. Admittedly, I haven't seen all of Kira Kira, but I am insanely in love with its designs because the character designer of Kira Kira is an understudy of Umakoshi, so they have very similar taste. They don't have a very similar art style, but they have a similar taste in design. And remember how I said Cure Peach is a textbook perfect magical girl design, but a little bit boring? Cure Whip is that, but it also manages to be original, which is kind of weird because of the theme of bunny girl and sweets. Like it's not really original, and yet the giant twin tails that kind of look like strawberry jam and bunny ears, they create a very fun, memorable silhouette. They could easily make the bunny ears twice as small, but they didn't. I look at it and I'm like, you go, girl, make that statement, bunny girl time. The paw boots in Kira Kira are so iconic. I wish they added them on Cure Kozma or Cure Sparkle. I really need a dramatic comeback of the paw boots. I love how her twin tails and side bangs are very round. It's not a shape of twin tails you'd see often. I don't even know if I ever seen it. I don't really know how it works because it looks like it's twin tails being bent in a half. I don't know. Um, the pom poms on boots and gloves are a fantastic way to use the bunny motif. You can't see the bunny tail from the front, so they added pom poms that can be seen from any angle. It's a really genius choice if you ask me. And same pom poms also serve as earrings, another amazing case of the same element being used in threes. A layered dress that has extremely simplistic pattern that looks like a layered strawberry shortcake is so tasty looking. I mean, look at it. And then on the top of the dress, there's a waistband that looks like whipped cream. This design is just so tasty.
Yeah, I think like I completely agree with everything you said about her. Like as I said before about Kira Kira, I think that joining two things that don't really go together, like animals and sweets, it's not an easy feature, but Kira Kira does it so well. And in Whip's case, she just looks very, very adorable. She looks extremely cute, and her design is very clean. Like her dress, like it has three different layers, but it looks clean. It looks simple. It looks like direct to the point. And like we see kind of like this strawberry cake dress appear again in Hugto, but in such a messy way in Amur and Mashiri. They kind of have this as well, but like they should really look back at Whip's case and see, look, this is how it's done, you know. And I also absolutely love the paw boots. They look so cute. They look so cute. And overall, I think that she embodies that the magical girl essence. Being very pink and cute and fluffy. I think that she is an example of like how to be a magical girl. Design wise and personality wise as
Yeah,
well.
I think this is as perfect as it gets for a pink magical girls. It's simple and genius. It's thematic but not clashing. And as you said, with Cure Anjay, her dress has a very light color. It's pink and almost white. And the actual pink and red are used more like accents than the main color. This color balance is usually seen on Precure's special forms, which is really interesting to see on the main form.
Okay, so those are our choices concerning like our favorite individual designs. And now we're going to talk about our favorite seasons in terms of design. So, like in the cures case, we talked about five cures or five faves. And now we're going to talk about our three favorite seasons in terms of designs. So, we're considering everything, right? The cure designs, the civilian forms, the secondary characters, the villains, like everything that builds a season. And so, that's our criteria for choosing like those three.
Yes, and actually, our number three, I think it matches, right? It's Heartcatch.
Yes, Heartcatch Precure. Yeah, I didn't choose a Heartcatch Cure to be on my top five, but I was really debating over putting Moonlight because I love her design. But I feel like Heartcatch, overall, it has remarkable design. Everything about Heartcatch is very memorable. You see Heartcatch once and you will never forget it. All of the four characters, they are very distinctive. They don't look like anything that was done in Precure at the time. And up until today, there's nothing like Heartcatch. Umakoshi is really a genius. And, not only the cures look remarkable, but, the whole cast of the show, they just look incredible. We have the four cures, we have the mascots, the fairies, they look also very nice. And we have the villains that look really incredible. I love the villains in this season, like their visual parts. And, it wouldn't be Hard Catch without Kope-sama. Kope-sama is like peak design. It's peak design. Like, you can't win against that.
Yeah, everything in Heartcatch is very thematic. You see so much flowers in the scenery, in the backgrounds. Even the school has a lot of flowers around it in the backyard and stuff. And then the main four cures, they have three of them have matching designs, and then Moonlight, the oldest one, the most mature one, the most experienced one, she has a very different design. The only details that really tie her together with everyone else is the flower on her shoulder and her head. And then her boots also look very similar to Sunshine. Yeah, I think there's not really a lot to specify about Heartcatch because it's really it's perfect, but it's not very complicated. It's really straight to the point.
Yeah,
Like it's
you're
it's
right.
full of really great designs, but like I understand why both of us put it on a number three.
Yeah, you're right. But now our number two is different, right, from each other. My choice for number two is going to be Star Twinkle. I talked a lot about Star Twinkle. We talked a lot because, like, in both of our top fives, there were Star Twinkle cures. And I believe Star Twinkle is the most creative Precure season in terms of designs. The cures, like, I have no idea where they took the inspiration to create the cures because the five of them, they look wild. They look very different from each other, but at the same time, they kind of like all have this space theme in like in somewhere in them. And the colors, as we already talked about, are very bright, and I love it. It's all very colorful and powerful. They also have this way of working with hair that I have never seen before. Like the hairs are so crazy. And I'm not only talking about the cures, I'm talking about cures, I'm talking about villains, I'm talking about the princesses, everything about like the characters that make Star Twinkle, like the characters that are not only like characters that appear in the background, they are very impactful. Like the princesses, okay, I criticize the princesses a lot by their role in the season, but the design, like you can't criticize that those designs. They are so incredible. All of them, like they and tying to the star sign theme, like they all look really nice. And it's interesting because sometimes I share images of Precure in my social media, and some friends come talk to me like, "Oh, who's the one with my sign?" And I show it to them, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, she looks so beautiful," because they really embody the sign theme very well in each princess. And we also have the big villain of the season, which is the Ophiuchus princess, who looks absolutely stunning. And the snake design, the dark green design, it just looks awesome. And the villains, all of them like having a particular thing about them, and you can really see the inspiration for each one, and it ties to their own story as well. Just I could spend like 2 hours just talking about the Star Twinkle designs.
Yes, I agree with all the things you said. It's a really incredible season. It was very, very different from what we've seen in Precure before. Like in plot and the structure of the season, it wasn't much different, set aside from the fact that the Precures, they didn't really spend a lot of time at school. I think it was a really good choice because it let the show have more time to explore the space and the space theme. I was so happy to know that it's gonna be space theme, because in Precure, they do go in space, but usually it's for the big final battle,
Yeah.
like in Happiness Charge and Heartcatch and in other seasons too. It's a really it's not a place where Precures usually go, and obviously because they are magical girls, but they're still human. And for Sarah Twinkle to take them on space adventures, it was such a big, bold step for Precure. I think I read in one of the interviews that when the director pitched the idea of the Freakers being on a space adventure, it was almost shut down because it's it's like it's for boys, like girls don't go into space. So I'm so happy that they fought for this theme to be a thing.
Yeah, Precure
I
really
really,
breaks those
really
barriers.
I
It's
really,
awesome.
really love the fairy designs. I think it's the best fairies in all of the Precure. Just you can't you can't escape the cuteness of Hua, and Prudence is just he's like an older brother figure to her. They're both really adorable, really solid design, really wonderful colors. It's just an amazing season overall. I think my favorite villain design, while they all have really cool designs, I really, really love Iwan. It's it's just so adorable, and how her personality clashes with the smallness and cuteness,
Yeah.
and her being a cyclops. It really panders to my taste specifically. I was taking screenshots like crazy whenever she appeared. It's just, oh my god, I won. And the plot line of her with the Vakenyan,
Oh my
it
god.
was
Yeah.
so crushing. I actually called pretty early that Vakenyan and Kozma are the same person, but even still, it shocked me so much when it was confirmed.
Yeah, Precure doesn't do that kind of thing. So yeah, it was really incredible. And you talking about I want, her design at the end of the series is like
Oh
a
my
killer
god.
to me. It's so good. It's so good.
I'm instantly taken over whenever I see a character cutting their hair
Yeah.
short from long.
Yeah.
It's the best trope ever.
Yeah. And like after the time skip, like and the time skip we see at the last episode, their designs, all of them, they look really incredible. All of the five. And I won because they're the ones that go through big changes, and they look really incredible. So I have to give a shout out to short-haired Elena as well because she just looks
Hmm.
incredible. And obviously, I can't you know I can't go on without saying Capard. My husband, the love of
Yes.
my life. I just love him, and he is so handsome. Like, how could they do that to me? I can't.
It's really funny that they took a Kappa character and made him so insanely sexy.
Yeah, like and even with like the bald part in his hair, like that doesn't hurt him at all. He is still
Yeah.
the I
I
I just can't. I
know.
just can't.
And the lipstick, the fact that all
Yes.
of them have lipstick.
Oh God. Yeah, I think like we could stay here for hours talking about the Star Twinkle designs.
I think we should mention the big bad, the big villain, the princess, the one that's the snake. I forgot the
Yeah,
name. Sorry.
Ophiuchus
Yeah, I think
princess.
her design. I think her design being so drastically different was kind of a little bit obvious that she's gonna be a woman. I also called it pretty early, and I was happy that she's a big bad because I don't know. I don't really like the big bad villains in PreCure being guys for some reason. So I was really happy that was her true form, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, I had no idea that she was going to be. I remember you saying that on Twitter, and like I remember you saying, "Oh, because like the darkness is a woman and all," and I was like, "Where is this coming from?" I had no idea. I really.
The snatched waist.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a very woman design. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I also like when the big baddies are women in Precure. It's very rare, and like she instantly
Hmm.
became my fave big boss in Precure. She is awesome. Like everything about her. We're obviously just focusing on designs here, and her design is incredible. I love the snake theme, and I love the dark green they use on her, but everything about her is awesome. Even her motivations and why she fights, like you can really debate if she is in the right. Like she creates a moral problem in the narrative because like she makes very good points.
It was really, really wild to see those themes explored in Precure. Like the last couple episodes, they destroyed me. Like they really ripped my heart out of me.
Yeah.
The when the Precures sang the song at the end, it was a punch in
Yeah.
the face. I don't know. It was so powerful. I think the wildest thing in her design is those red strands of hair. Like I don't really know where they were coming from with those, but somehow they really look like they belong
Yeah,
there.
they enhance her design somehow.
So yeah, we're avid fans of Star Twinkle. I guess it shows because it just ended not so long ago, so it's still really fresh, the feeling.
Yeah, I miss Star Twinkle so much. I always say this. Star Twinkle is something I'll miss forever, I think.
And my number two is Yes Precure 5 and Yes Precure 5 Go Go. I think I'm leaning more towards the second season because I I prefer the less yellow accents. They toned down the yellow color in the second season. They replaced it with the off white with the hue of their main colors. Yes 5 is a very important season in terms of how Precure design has evolved over time when you think about it. It's the first big team, and also it's the first rainbow hair team. Before that, Precures had relatively realistic and tame hair colors, like the dark blue. You could easily write it off as a black hair.
Yeah.
And Yes 5 has that level of color coding that you would normally see in Power Rangers. Of course, it's not first color coded rainbow hair magical girl team. It's far from it, but still, for Precure specifically, it was a pretty big change and a core change that shaped every single season after that. Yes 5 has a very concise theme, the butterflies. There are other themes in this season, like the villains are other insects, like a spider, a praying mantis, a roach that prey on butterflies. Another theme being flowers. But it's easy to link both of those, both insects and flowers, back to butterflies. And I learned that in Japanese culture, butterflies are most closely associated with the symbolism of metamorphosis and transformation, hence the team's transformation phrase being Precure Metamorphosis.
Yes.
Yes 5 is the first Precure season with a woman character designer, who later designed for Smile and Hagato. I really like her signature art style and color choices. I'm not really a big fan of Hagata, as I said, in designs, but Smile is another season I really like visually because of how unified the team looks. And both Smile and Yes 5 has the best that also are that are from different character designer, but you also can see the similar vests in the latest season in Healing Good Precure. I really missed when Precure teams actually had uniforms and looked unified. So I'm really happy to see the latest season being more tied up.
Yeah, I like the go-go designs the most between those two. I feel like it's a very big upgrade, and I don't know, it just looks sleek and powerful. The Yes 5 designs, I still remember when Yes 5 came out, I really freaked out with the colors and such. It was like a big change for Precure, as you said, but I feel like GoGo really took it to another level. They really enhanced the designs, and like looking at the two of them at the same time, I believe that in Yes Precure 5Ks, there is so much yellow, as you said. Like there's this creamy yellow tone. And I'm glad they toned it down in Go Go because like their their main color gets like the main stage in their costumes. And
Yeah, I've been putting off watching Yes 5 because I took one look at the designs and I was like, what the what the hell is this pissed yellow color?
yes, and it's strange. Like the only thing I like better in Yes Precure 5 than in Go Go is Lemonade's puffy dress. I absolutely love it. It's so
Yeah.
iconic to me. It's so iconic, and it's not there in Go Go, but it like in Yes, like it's the most iconic thing. And I have a figure of her from the Yes season, and she has this puffy dress. I find it adorable. I love it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a downgrade on part of Lemonade,
Yeah, but that's
unfortunately.
probably the only thing actually. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I don't really like about Yes and Go are the villain designs. Like the idea, as you said, of them being insects is very nice and it ties very well to the season. But I think that their designs aren't like that memorable. Like I think about them and you know it just doesn't strike me as like something I'd remember and I'd say, look, this is a good design. And sometimes the color choices for the villains are like, what are they thinking with this? I have no idea
Yeah,
where
this
they're going.
season has really great environmental design and secondary character designs. It is kind of bleak too. I agree. I think the villains have really good casual designs, like
Yeah, they're
the
human forms.
Girima. Ginma, I took one look at him. I mean, I guess he kind of looks like a Joker, but I took one look at him and I was like, damn, that praying mantis is hot.
Yeah, I get
And
where
then
you're
the
coming from.
spider lady, the token sexy lady of the season, she also looked really cool. But then there were a couple of villains that I didn't really like for the reason that they were like, the stereotypical fat, ugly guys. Like, I don't really like the trope. I think they could do better, especially with the frog dude.
Yeah.
And then I think the fairies have really, really nice designs. I'm not a fan of the fairies in the first three seasons because I really like when the fairies look more like real life animals. Like, even if they're stylized, I prefer when they more look like animals.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I like the designs, especially Milk. The In her
Hmm.
fairy form, she looks really adorable. If we were to rank like the best designs of fairies, she would probably be on my top five because I love her design. But yeah, I just have to say one thing though. I don't like the designs of the villains, but I like Hadenia, the one that looks like a chicken. I don't know if you remember her. She looks really incredible in her villain form. Like she's my fave probably, and her human form
Hmm.
with short hair as well. I like that, and so like I think that she's the one that stands out to me in terms of villain designs in this season.
Yeah, and then Flora in the gardens, she also had a really, really beautiful
Oh
design. I
yeah, she
think
did. She did.
I think Cure L has a really similar design to her. Like their hair colors are identical. They're flowers. I think what confused me the most in Go Go is how Milk, she has a whitish pink color scheme and a red bow, and then none of those colors are present in her Precure
Yeah,
alter
Milky
ego.
Rose is like totally different. Yeah, I think that
Th-
like they were trying to keep her identity as a mystery. Obviously, we know who she is and everything, but there
It
is
was
this
really,
secret.
really funny. It was really funny that she was doing it for the sole reason of it's just a trope, like it's decided. It was really fourth wall breaking stuff. I love
Yeah.
that because it's not like there are a lot of human media in the kingdom that she lives in. Like, how would she really know about this stuff? It was so hilarious.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so now let's get to our first pick. And we chose the same season. Like our favorite season concerning designs is the same.
It is happiness church freaker. I don't really know what it's gonna result in what the audience will think, but
Look,
I guess it
like
doesn't really matter.
we're gonna get a lot of hate for this, probably. We're gonna get a lot of hate for this because I don't know. Like people don't really seem to like Happiness Charge. But in terms of designs, I think Happiness Charge, it really takes the lead in every aspect. There were no Happiness Charge cures in my favorite list, like individually. They look very simple if you think about it. Like they don't have like those big and grand designs, but as a team, I think Happiness Charge looks the best. I love this blue suit they have, which is like very dark blue or kind of black in depending on depending on the image you look at, and it unifies the team and it really looks like a uniform. Obviously we have some differences in um, like we have different details like the shoulders are different for each, like the thing they wear on their hair is also different for each, and like there are different details like the ribbons they wear, but ultimately like there is this sense of unity in Happiness Charge. I love it.
Yes, I think the dark blue vest is my absolute favorite design in it, and it makes sense because the happiness church cures they aren't the only cures in the universe. There are cures all around the world, And it's amazing how it works and blends in with every single one of them. And
Yes,
even all the international pictures in this season wear them. It creates this amazing feeling of unity around the world. And the concept of superheroes that everyone knows and loves and supports, it's such an amazing concept.
it is.
I it could be executed a lot better, but I'm still really grateful for it. It's something I would love to see more. I was really happy when the classmates of the girls in Star Twinkle found out they're superheroes. But Happiness Church had it on a completely different scale. It was amazing. And Happy Cha is my favorite season period, and Cure Princess Hime is my favorite cure. Uh, as I mentioned with the S5, I really like teams that look unified with very similar figure forms that mainly differ in colors. I'm all for presenting individuality, but if you call yourself a team, you gotta look like one. The design that don't look unified is what turned me off in Hakuto, as I said. But still, as you mentioned, they still have a lot of differences in Hapicha: the bows, the sleeve, the skirts, the boots, the hair accessories. There's a lot going on, and even despite three of the cures having a ponytail, they look completely different if you ask me.
Yeah, totally different. Like they don't like I it took me a while to understand that Fortune has a ponytail. Honestly, it took me a long while to notice that she didn't really just have like straight hair, without anything. And another thing I like about Happiness Charge that I don't usually like in a magical girl in general is how little they change, like to when they're humans and when they become cures. They
Mm-hmm.
change very little. And usually I don't like that. I like when the changes are big, like for example in Hugto or in Star Twinkle, that they change like drastically. I love that in Magical Girls. But in Hugto, in Happiness Charge, it worked so well like this. It ties to the whole theme of the season. Like their cure names are based on what they who they are in real life, and what they like and what
Mm-hmm.
their personalities are in real life. So it ties very well to that. And so like they have very very similar designs, like the civilian forms and the cure forms, they're very close to each other. They don't go through a big change. And as I said, I don't like that usually, but in Happiness Charge's case, it's like the biggest exception ever for me. Because like it doesn't matter. They look awesome in their cure forms, and it has like it makes sense for the season. It makes sense for the theme of the season.
Yeah.
And it's also something gorgeous. And another thing that makes me really happy about Happiness Charge is the amount of designs it has. The cures, like their civilian forms, they can change. With the cards they capture. So they can change
Mm-hmm.
into anything they want, basically. They can change into a job, like into a kind of like a role, or they can change into
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know, a fashion style. So it's just very nice, and it added so much to every episode, when they were changing and just playing. They're children, so they were playing around, and I love this. It's just incredible.
The thing about them changing forms in their, like, the casual forms, yeah, when they're not transformed, is it's a thing you see a lot in Magical Girls. I think a lot of people are mostly familiar with more mainstream stuff like Sailor Moon, but when I think about the Magical Girls that change casual forms, I first think about Hananoko Rundun, the flower girl Rundun. It's a very old series of Toei, and her she doesn't really transform into a magical girl. She has a flower pendant, and she uses it to gather the powers of flowers. And her outfits that she transform in, they look like those flowers. It's a really dear series to me, and I really love to see the similar ability in Happiness Charge. And I think their usual casual forms are really, really amazing. When you look at them, they have so much personality. Like Megumi looks really like the pitch perfect protagonist. The West, the skirt, the thigh highs, they have really, really nice colors that I love. And then Hime has a really cute dress that looks princessy but also look really modern, and a kind of thing you would see an actual girl wearing. And then Yuko has a also very fitting jumpsuit. It's really cute. I really love to see cures that don't wear skirts, and that takes us to Iona. Iona also wears shorts, and when you look at her casual design, it's really bleak and it lacks the bright colors that the other girls have, and it's so representative of her journey and her issue with her sister and her whole personality. It's not a kind of color scheme you would usually see on a character. Like
Yeah.
even with the Cure Moonlight, it her pure form, it is pretty bleak, but her usual uniform it isn't, and her hair is pretty bright. So it was really cool to see her not being a villain and still having this really depressive kind of color schemes.
Yeah. And, you know, talking about form changes, it's impossible to talk about a happiness charge without talking about the cure form changes they have.
Yeah.
So, like, one thing I love about that is that they all represent different dance styles. I find that really
Hmm.
incredible.
Oh my god, I never noticed that.
Yeah, they do. Like each one of them represents like a dance style, and you know, I love that. You know, I love dance. You know, in general, I find it a very interesting type of art, and you know, it's just incredible. And you know, each one of them having two different forms, it just adds so much to the season. You know, and it was so funny, like especially when Cure Honey was using that carnival form she has. I don't remember the
Hmm.
names, but you know that carnival form she has, it was always so funny and you know so entertaining. I just loved it, and you know it adds a lot to the battles as well, having the form changes, and you know it adds some different dynamics. It was just incredible. I like, not only the designs are like on top, like they're so good, the way they used it was also very fun.
Yes, I also really, really love that they have so many form changes. I think my only beef with these changes are Cure Honey and Cure Fortune having these. You know how anime has the problem with appropriating cultures, and it kind of looks like a cheap Halloween costume. But I
Yes.
think this case, I mean, I don't really have like an agency to be the spokesperson for these cultures, but I think it's not the worst case. It's not good, but it's not the worst that we had. At least they're not overly sexualized. Like, thank you so much for not exposing their stomachs in both of them.
Yeah, like the thing is, like Honey's case, like she, when I saw that she used like Maracas Spark, that's something like that. But you know, she really reminds me of a carnival passist, and you know, like me being in the country of carnival, I absolutely loved seeing that on her, because like we Brazilians, we love seeing Brazilian people in media, you know, that is not Brazilian media. And when we see
Mm-hmm.
Brazilian characters in anime, it's always a party. And you know, it's not Brazilian in this case, but it's, you know, it's kind of like Brazilian inspired, the costume. And I
Mm-hmm.
like the fact that she is, as you said, she's not sexualized, because um, fascists in carnival, you know, they usually show a lot of skin, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes like they're very, very raunchy. And when I looked at her for the first time, I thought there's too much in this costume. But then I thought, okay, it needs to have too much in this, you know. And obviously, it's so on point to me. And the way she uses this power, and you know, she just shakes around and dances, and sometimes the villains dance with her. You know, everything to me, every single thing to me. Like, I love it. I love it.
I'm really glad to hear it. I really am. I remembered another thing that is also connected to their innocent forms. I hate when precures have lipstick. I really didn't like it in Haguto. I don't want to see 13-year-olds in lipstick. I'm sorry. So the
Yeah,
cherry flamenco form, I didn't like the lipstick on it, but other than that, I my favorite forms are lollipop hip hop, both forms of hime, and then the cheerleader one. I think they're my favorite.
yeah. My favorites are the carnival one that I don't remember the name, and
Hmm.
Unmitsu Komachi for
Hmm.
Cure Fortune. I love
The
that.
Japanese
Yeah,
one.
the Japanese one. And I don't remember the name of the attack because it's like a long Japanese phrase, but I remember the
Hmm.
name of the form because I find it very beautiful, and even the name is very beautiful. But yeah, as you mentioned, the innocent forms, like the innocent forms, the forms themselves, they look very nice, but the makeup, it looks a disaster to me. It really looks like those kids that are playing with makeup and they don't know when to stop, and they end up looking like clowns. You know what I mean? Like it looks really
Yeah.
strange. It looks really strange. But uh like this fact that they were just playing with it and not really knowing how to use it make it funny to me in a way.
Yeah, I think it's not the fact that they wear lipstick. It doesn't really match with the general art style, which is very round. It's very cartoony. It's just lipstick in anime is an object of debate because if anime doesn't have a realistic-ish style, then it really looks out of place. That's all.
Yeah, you're right. Like I like the lipstick in Hugto, like especially in Anje, it makes it look a little older. But in this case, in Happiness Charge, it's just no, a big no to me. But you know, talking about mature, I like the villains in this season for me. Like it's also another peak design because I just don't even know what to say about them because they're so incredible. All of them are just incredible if you think about it. Like really, I don't even know. Like I can't even pick a favorite in terms of designs because
Gotta be Hoshiba, no?
Hoshiwa is my favorite in terms of personality and everything. But in terms of designs, you know, all of them look awesome. And like Queen Mirage as well, like for me, she's also peak design. Oreski as well. I don't know. You know, it's hard. It's really hard to pick a fave amongst the villains because they all look incredible.
I think Nama Kelder, the green one, he looks really like a character from Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, you're right. You're right. He looks like a grasshopper. Like I
Yeah.
think that's his theme, obviously. That like you can see the antennas
Yeah.
on his head, but like I love his design as well. And I remember when he became a human at the end, like he was so handsome. I was like, okay, I like that.
Yeah, the good thing about Happiness Church is really how simple the designs are, the how round and fun the shapes are. Like, look at the Queen Mirage's hair and dress. Look at Hoshiba's dress and hair and hat. It looks so floaty. I just love the look of it.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of harmony in the designs. It's just incredible.
There's nothing really what ties the designs of the villains together, I don't think, but it's really fitting because all of them are like they represent the bad qualities and they're really self-absorbed. So it really does make sense that they don't really
Yeah,
have
they're different.
much in
Yeah, they're very
common.
different from each other.
They really just pursue their personal gain, and yeah.
That's it, basically. And like in this season, we also have like regular people turning into villains, and that's interesting because we have Kuratender first. Yeah, she I think she was like the first one when she was sleeping inside when she was captured by Precure Hunter. Uh, they used her to create like a dark version of Kuratender, and that design is also incredible. Like she keeps her cute tender design, but they take it to like a darker level. And the butterfly wings, it's very dramatic and intense. It's really really something.
Pure Tender's evil form design, it is so breathtaking. I am in love with the color scheme. I really, really love the use of black. I love how her vest becomes longer and looks like butterfly wings. I love that they keep the bow in the middle but make it dark. It's just so much to love.
Yeah. Yeah, and in this season we also had Precure Hunter becoming unlovely. That was very nice. We had Seiji becoming a villain as well for a while. That had like this dark vest with red details that looked really incredible too. And we also had Red, which is basically like a darker version of Blue. And like honestly, I look at Blue and I see a villain as well. Like I you probably know I really dislike him, and like he's the biggest villain in Happiness Charge for me. And but overall, like I like the fact that they get like more or less the same design for blue and red, but the different usage of colors and the clothes they wear, like they define more or less who the character is gonna be in the narrative.
Before I watched this season, I had heard so much hate for its love interest subplot. Like, just people didn't talk about anything else. I thought, well, it's gotta be like run of the mill, regular, normal season. And then I started watching it and I was so mad because people overlooked so many amazing concepts like the Precure's being superheroes, like the international cures. There was so much going on. I think it's not that it's undeserved that people hate Blue, but he could be worse. Like think back on the Coco and Nozomi. I really dislike that relationship because Coco is clearly an adult, and I think what Blue did, it wasn't as bad as Coco because at least he didn't reciprocate the feelings. Like that was all right to me. And Seiji is a really sweet boy who is the same age, so that relationship didn't bother me at all. I really like the childhood friends trope. I think both of them have place to be in this season.
Yeah, I like my problems with Blue, they kind of tie into the love problem. I think like he knew that Megumi was having feelings for him, and he just didn't care. He just led her on, and he led her with those feelings inside of her. He didn't do anything to stop that. But my biggest problem with Blue is more or less the same problems I have with the princesses in Star Twinkle. But let's not talk
Hmm.
about that here, because it would be like another half hour essay on
Yeah,
Blue and how
yeah,
much I hate
design.
him and
The
everything else.
designs of Blue and Red, I really like them because they look just like regular humans. I mean, Blue looks more like a royalty and Red looks like a typical bad boy. I really like how simple the designs are, how the simple distinguish uh between the blue having blue pants and red having red pants, and the only other details being black and white. It's a really It's a really simple concept. I like it for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, me too. I like the designs. I have no complaints on Blue's design at all. And we also have the mascots that looked really nice in Happiness Charge. Like I never really understood like this this backpack they had. You know, at one time I thought they were supposed to be like kind of like ladybugs, but I was like, no, I don't think that's the case. But you know, like they look absolutely adorable, and like this shape they have is it's not something I would say it's original, but it's adorable. You know, you look at them and you instantly love them, and especially Glosson. Glosson was so cool. I don't know. I just love him or her. I don't even
I
know.
totally agree. I really like Glossan. The theory design, they're not my favorite, but I think it's really, really cool that they make all three of them pandas. They're supposed to be pandas, yes. And I really like the hair. I think it's supposed to be hair that looks like
Yeah.
a lollipop. It's adorable. And the designs are really simple. There's not a lot going on, but I think it's what in their personality that make them insanely lovable.
Yeah.
They're all really, really different.
And you know,
And
like
yeah,
them having very simple designs is a good thing because like they can work with that very easily. They can work with that very easily. Like the faces that they make, like when they're scared or when they're happy, you know, like it's full of personality and it's full of reactions, and they can make that easily when you have a simple design like that.
I think out of three of them, I loved Ribbon the most because yeah, Glossan is really cool, and that's it's kind of the only personality trait. I really, really love the relationship between Ribbon and Hime. They, because Ribbon was uh, with Hime for quite some time. They already have an established relationship at the beginning, and Ribbon is like a caretaker for her. She controls the impulses of Hime. She cooks for her. She cares for her, and Hime um she often acts very entitled to the things that Ribbon gives her, and I really really like that they addressed it in one of the episodes. It was really nice to see.
Yeah, one of the things I like about Ribbon is that she is like she's full of reaction. You know, everything that happens, she reacts like very in a very big way, and I love that.
She screamed so much.
Yeah,
I
that's
am
so
taking off
cool.
my hat before the voice actress. She was amazing. And speaking of the voices, I think Happiness Church might be one of the really, really top seasons for me in terms of the voices because they had really famous voice actresses on the main roles. Like Megumi Han being Hime was a huge thing for me.
Yeah, the voice actors are like really top notch. They did a very good job in, you know, crafting the characters because that's very important as well. And like one last thing I want to say is let and going back to their forum changes, uh, and you know there is like a big theory on the internet with Pokemon and Oricorio that has four different forms, and Oricorio is from Pokemon Sun and Moon, and the four different forms of Oricorio are based on dance routines, and the four versions they all are very similar to form changes from Happiness Charge. Like each form of Oricorio is very similar to each form of each Happiness Charge cure. So like that's something that I find very interesting. And you know, there are lots of designs in Pokemon that resemble PreCure, and I'm really sure there's a PreCure fan inside Game Freak, you know, taking notes and you know making those relations because like it really looks similar.
It's not very clear how coincidental it is. I think it might as well be a coincidence, but it is a really cool theory. I've seen it floating around. I really like those Oricorios designs. Yeah.
Yeah, they look very nice, and like they really match the Happiness Charge designs as well.
So the thing I like we have two things left. I'd personally like to discuss. The first one being the what's they're called, the Psyarchs, the what's the word of the minions, I guess, the
Yeah.
minions of the
Uh-huh.
series, the mindless army. They're kind of luxter, but I guess it makes sense in this season because it's really simple and design wise. I really, as I said, I really like the big limbs, the arms and feet being big. It's a really nice choice for me. And they're kind of boring in a way because they all look kind of samey with little differences. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's all about, like everything, it's all about the taste you have. What I really like about Cyarchs is how the scarves they have correspond to the person who quote unquote created them.
Yeah, that's a very nice observation.
And then the last thing are, of course, the international cures. Like, there's a lot to unpack here. Like, same with the PreCure forms. There's some icky stuff going on. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the Native American PreCure being like very pale, and same for the Indian and Egyptian cure. They're also really pale. At least they have the decency to make the Hawaiian cures a little darker. But I
Yeah.
don't really I don't really see the reason why they couldn't go the same route with the other cures of color. Like, what's the beef? What's the deal?
Yeah, like I really love the design of all of them. Like they look really nice. But I think that like they play too much on stereotypes. Like
Yes,
they
that's
play
the
too much
problem
on
in this
stereotypes.
season.
You know, the designs they look nice, you know, they really look beautiful. They play too much on stereotypes. And I would like to see like more different um I don't know, more creative ones in terms of that. Because like when you look at the Japanese cures, they don't have like Japanese codes on them. They're just regular chores.
Right?
And you know, when you go to other countries, they're all tied to their culture in a way, and in a very stereotypical way. You know, and honestly, I absolutely love the American cure, the United States cures. Let's call it that, because I'm American too. I'm Brazilian. I'm American. I'm sorry, and you know, they look very nice. Like I love the designs, especially the Native American one. Like like I love that design, but you know, when you look at it, like there is some problem going on there. But I like the idea.
Yeah.
You know, I like the idea, and I loved when they appeared. And like I loved when Cure Honey went to France just to sing the Rise song, just to sing the Rise song and help the French cure. And like that's so Cure Honey, you know, like randomly appearing somewhere, singing a song, and you know, goodbye. My job here
Yeah,
is done.
Kiruhani was a really mysterious character. A lot of people say that they didn't do much, the writers didn't do much with Kiruhani, but I guess it's kind of a part of her vibe. Like, she doesn't really care about much. She likes rice. Like, go girl, eat
Yeah,
some rice.
exactly. Like Cure Honey is such a complete character. You don't need anything else for her. You know, like she had a plot with the Precure Hunter, and that was it. You know, like she doesn't need a big drama in her life. She doesn't need like suffering. She doesn't need to have like a family problem to make her feel complete. You know, she just is complete the way she is. And you know, she's crazy. She's totally crazy. And you know, like you can't go wrong with Cure Honey. You can't go wrong with her. I find it
I think
also amazing.
she's really charming.
She
I
is.
also really like that they include a cutie honey reference in there. Like, that was a big win for me.
Yes.
And back to international cures, I'm really happy that they gave an episode to the Hawaiian cures. Like, thank you. They could easily just let the international cures be on the sidelines, but at least they made a one episode about
Yeah, I was happy
international
as that. I was
cures.
happy with that as well. And their designs, like the two, I don't remember their names, but their designs are really nice as cures, and like they look really, really great. I love that.
Yeah. So I guess that's all I had to cover on Happiness Church. I on the last second I remembered a movie character from the Smile movie, Nico, and I think it's worth to give her a memorable mention. Just I really love Nico's design. I haven't seen all of the movies of Precure, but of the ones I did see, I think Nico's design is just on top. She has a really like gothic vibe going on. She has the hair that looks like wings. She has the double colored hair with the gradient. It's so adorable. I really
Yeah.
love just looking at her.
She's amazing. Yeah, her design is awesome. I really like gradient hairs as well, so that's a win for me. So just as a shout out for a movie, I just have to say the Constellation forums for Star Twinkle because they just look awesome. They just I don't know, they just look incredible. I just love that. I love special forums and that those ones in Star Twinkle, the Star Twinkle movie, they just feel very special. And I'm sad that they were used so little because they're so beautiful.
I know. And another thing about special forms, um oh no, I lost the thought. Oh yeah, I got it. So uni, I think I'm a little not a little, I'm big sad. I'm really sad that they didn't really marketed the real form of uni, the cat form. I was really sad that they didn't even make a figure out of it. Like
Yes.
they did the Cosmo form, they did the Phantom Thief form that's like barely different from her human form. They did the Precure form and the Mao figure. I was so sad they didn't even give her real, like, how sad is that? That's her real
Yeah,
form.
and that's such a
Why?
beautiful form as well. So that makes me really sad too. That makes me really sad. Like
Like,
unfortunately,
it's okay, Toei, just convert little children to furries. It's
come
okay.
on, toy. Furs are nice. Oh yeah, but yeah, we had a nice talk about designs. Like lots of interesting things I think we said, and like I know we spoke too much, but it's Precure. It's very hard to to keep it tame.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun as well. Thank you for having me here.
Well, I'm the one who's very thankful. Thank you so much for being here with me. I loved our talk, and well, I hope people enjoyed it as well. And we would like to see your opinions and your takes as well. So please leave a comment with your top fives, your favorite seasons, your designs, like that are really memorable to you. And please don't hate us for loving Happiness Charge. You know.
I'm sorry for having taste.
Yeah, right. Right? Say it, girl. I love it. Agnia, thank you so much for being here with me. I had the time of my life.
Yes, thank you so much. I also had a lot of fun. This is my first time recording a podcast like that, and I don't really normally speak at length about things I love, so it was really fun to compile my thoughts like that. So, thank you.
Oh yeah, and we did speak a lot. So Agnia's or tomatomagica's social medias are going to be on the description. Just go follow her for some amazing art. Go follow her on Twitter, on Instagram, and everywhere else because she deserves it, girl. Thank you so much again for being here with me, Agnia. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye.